Hi guys, and today we are looking at a game that I had in the SU-122-44. Now, this gun and this tank is pretty good. I mean, it has that really good Soviet 122 122mm with that great 390 alpha damage. Now, when you're top tier like this, you can have such a good impact in the game, and to be honest with you, this game definitely proves that. Now, I'm not a fan of this map, Serene Coast, and if I'm honest with you, I wasn't expecting a good game at all, because I had a game in this previously, I think like 2 games before this one, and I did dreadful, but I did spawn in the north, so I definitely think if you're in a sniping tank, then spawning in the south is a lot better. So we start off and we're sitting in this, we're camping the bush, and we don't really have much of an impact this early on. The north, the 1-2 line looks pretty decent. There seems to be quite a lot of tanks up there, so I thought, well, I'd sit here and play a supporting role. If any of the tanks try and push on that outward kind of slope there, because I know a lot of medium tanks do tend to do that quite often, like that Cromwell was doing, and I sadly miss a shot there as he pulled back just in time before I could plant a shell in that juicy turret of his. Now, I spot this E25 and he shadily parks himself right behind those bars, and my shell just for some reason finds itself, but the second shell doesn't miss. And we shave off about half of his health right there. Now, that's the beautiful thing about this gun, how if you're in top tier and you're up against tanks in, tier 6, tier 5, you can have absolutely devastating effects on anyone below you. I mean, look at that. That was a full health KV1, and I took off about 55% of his health. Now, look at this OI. Ouch. I mean, okay, OI has a lot of health, but I mean, even then, that's a good 40% of his health taken away right there. And now I set my sights to this flank, which actually looks like it's falling. And it was definitely something that I wasn't expecting, if I'm honest with you, since, I mean, if you saw at the beginning of the game, it looked like, if I'm honest with you, we were going to win that flank. So that KV-13's getting absolutely swarmed right now, and I luckily managed to plant a shell right before I decide to fall back in a second. Pardon me. And yeah, so I decide to fall back, and I mean, this is a great tactic for anyone that's learning to play or wants to be effective in World of Tanks. Learning to fall back when the time is right, read the map, read the situation, see what's going on. I think that's probably the biggest tip I can give to anyone, really, is always read the map, always know what's going on around you, especially if you're playing tanks like tank destroyers. They are, very effective offensive and defensive weapons, and you'll see right now I decide to fall back to this position, which I haven't really used before, and it actually turns out to be quite effective, and I'll definitely be using this position more in the future, as I mean, you can catch any tanks that push themselves over that railway. And I mean, I didn't get spotted, I don't think. Oh no, I did get spotted. I think that was the T-34-1 that spotted me there. That IS finally realises that there's a threat. I mean, this is why you should always read the map, because if you saw while I was on my way to this position, the IS had no idea what was going on around him. I luckily saved him from that T1 heavy, which I don't think would have much of an impact on him anyway. but I do see this T-34-1 as quite a threat. It's quite a good tank if you play it right. And I just planted such a good shell right through the side of his tracks into his hull, and that was an over average damage roll of 401, I think. Incredible. I mean, the sort of damage you can deal in this tank. And there we go, blind fire as he goes unspotted. Planted a shell straight in that T-34-100, which nulls out the danger from that tier 7 medium tank with quite a nasty gun, with 175mm of penetration and 250 alpha damage. Oh, and there we go, we're taking out the KV-1. He hasn't had a very good game, has he? Gets hit by me twice this game. We luckily managed to bounce a shell there from the Cornwell B. The frontal armour does have a tendency to bounce the odd shots, but as you see there, I have a feeling he planted a shell right through my drive wheel. Now, God, I didn't realise this at the time, but there's only 30 seconds left. Oh no. No, I'm wrong. I think there's like 6 seconds, 6 minutes, something like that left. No, I was going to say, the time's not that quickly, but yeah, I go after this T-34-1, and sadly you can see how bad the gun depression is, and I mean it's the same with him. The T-34-1, being a Chinese medium tank, has awful gun depression, but really effective turret armor. So in a position like this, he could really use that to his advantage if he was to play quite aggressively against me. But he gives me the time to load my premium shells, because at this point in the match I don't want to be bouncing any unnecessary shells against that T-34-1, because right now he is that biggest threat to me, and I was very unsure if he was going to flank me here, being in kind of like a fork sort of road here. He could have gone either way, so I decided to take up this position. I see that the Cromwell starts to cap, which was a good idea until he drove through and decides to rush me. No idea why he thought that was a good idea when he could have just sat in the cap and baited me out. Same with the T-34-1, and that was the game. I ended up doing 3,100 damage with I got a first class, and yeah, excellent display of defensive positioning there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.